Welcome to Japan, and today we're going to look at one of the most iconic and horrific antagonists in all of Japanese horror, that being Kayako Saeki from the Ju-On/Grudge franchise, and ponder the question, is she, along with the curse that binds her, evil? Before we get too into the weeds, some things need to be clarified. The Ju-On franchise and its American counterpart are almost completely different in terms of backstory and future installments after the first movie, but the main storyline is almost the same. This being the case, I'm going to cover Kayako as she appears in the American version and its sequels, ignoring the 2020 Grudge altogether because A, she was hardly in it, and B, that movie was ass. We'll also be taking some information from the novels by Kai Ohishi to help fill in the gaps of her backstory. For example, since the author wasn't a huge fan of the change of Kayako's backstory in the American version, we'll stick with his. If you'd like me to cover Kayako as she appears in the Japanese versions, please comment below. With all that out of the way, on with the show. From the novels, we learn that she was born into a two-parent, functional, albeit neglectful, home, leaving her to become withdrawn, depressed, and lonely. Classmates would describe her as shy, introverted, and on a few occasions, kinda creepy, preferring the company of her cat, Kuro, over her peers. Shortly before attending university, her parents would pass away in a car accident, to which it was said that Kayako seemed unfazed by their deaths. While attending university, she met fellow classmate Shunsuke Kobayashi, but because of her shy and introverted nature, she rarely approached him, but she would fall in love with him from afar. She would follow him, and even went as far as to dabble in witchcraft in order to curse his current girlfriend, but she was unsuccessful. This tells me that she has a bit of an obsessive personality, but due to her shy and introverted nature, kept everything to herself, but had an outlet of journaling her various obsessions. Eventually, the two would go their separate ways, and that was when she would meet her eventual husband, Kayako Saeki, and together they had a son named Toshio. Kobayashi, meanwhile, would become a teacher, and eventually Toshio's teacher, bringing the two together again and reigniting Kayako's love for him. It's not exactly clear as to what it was like in the Saeki household, but different versions have portrayed Takio as everything from an absent father to a good man who was simply away from home for long periods of time because of his job, to an abusive alcoholic. Regardless, the canon event remains the same. One day, he found Kayako's journals that had been filled with page after page declaring her love for Kobayashi and Peter in the American version. In a rage, Takio killed her with a snap of her neck, drowning their son and cat in the bathtub before ending his own life. All while she, on the edge of death, could only watch as an inhuman rattle reverberated from her throat. Thus the curse of the Onryo was born. The inspiration behind this story and many others like it can be traced back to the tale of a woman named Ayuwa, a woman married to a samurai with a wandering eye who ended her life so that he could be with another woman. As the two were getting married, he lifted her veil to see the disfigured face of his former wife, Ayuwa, screaming back at him, causing him to take her head off with his sword, only to see that it was the head of the woman he was marrying that was rolling away. Ayuwa continued to terrorize him, but even after he was gone, she continued to haunt those that knew him, that spoke her name, and told her story. No one was safe from Ayuwa, who had become a wrathful spirit with the sole focus of ending the lives of anyone that came across her path. A fate which now fell upon Kayako. When someone dies in the grip of a powerful rage, a curse is born. It gathers in that place of death, but cannot be contained. Once you encounter it, it will never let you go. In short, you enter the house, you become cursed. And unlike the victims of famous slashers over here in the West, everyone can be a target, the innocent and evil alike. But does that make Kayako evil? If we remember back to my video about the Blair Witch, after the death of Ellie Kedward, she became more than just a witch, but a plague. A darkness that stretched across the forest that she called her home, infecting anyone that stepped into her domain with a madness that left them on their knees begging for death. What she did was terrible as the infamous Blair Witch, but I don't think she was evil, just a victim of circumstance that resulted in a curse. A curse of her own making, sure, with a lifetime of witchcraft and a vow to punish those that had killed her, but she was no longer human, nor in control of her own destiny. I think the same applies to Kayako. Is she an evil person? No. She is simply bound to the constraints of the curse that now enslaves her. I mean, if anything, the truly evil one is Takeo. No one likes being cheated on, physically or emotionally, but no one deserves a death sentence because of it. The fact that he killed their son and their cat speaks to his cruelty, leading me to believe that he was already a violent man, or at least had the propensity for violence. If I was going to point to anything that was seemingly evil or malicious on Kayako's part, it may have been when she forced Aubrey from The Grudge 2 into the house, so that she could be cursed and eventually take her place. This, along with a fire set by Karen, had the effect of allowing Kayako to venture into the outside world, spreading the curse to schools, neighbors, America, and everyone connected to the families that ever set foot in that house. Also, it seems that she kills some people faster, and some other people she draws it out, making me think that she enjoys the torment and horror she subjects her victims to. Or is it just the curse acting through her? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Much like the Blair Witch Project, The Grudge is the story of a damaged and lonely woman whose circumstances led her down a path of obsession and ultimately death at the hands of a man who was supposed to love her, turning her into a hurricane of terror, madness, and death. I believe that's the best way to describe her. She is a force of nature that consumes and destroys everything that comes in contact with her. Much like a natural disaster, it doesn't care if you're young, old, male, female, good or bad or black and white. No one escapes the grudge once it's unleashed. And none of this is Kayako's fault. She was a victim of domestic abuse in the worst way, and now those in her wake will know the true meaning of fear at the hands of a battered and crooked woman and the sounds of croaking.